am Magnus Walker, and I've been obsessed with Porsches for the past 45 years. I've built, collected, driven, raced and restored quite a lot of P cars in my time. But this show is all about other people's Porsches. So take a ride along with me as I find out all there is to know about OPP. Miami is an intoxicating, colourful city with a vibrant car culture scene, best experienced at night time, when anything could happen.
Oh my God. Hey, do me a favor, you just got pulled over.
It's his vehicle? Sure.
One of the guys recognized Magnus, so I think we're good. I
will. You know, I'm all about OPP, other people's Porsches.
I know. Nice. I've seen what you have.
Well, thank you very much.
Amazing. I've seen your channel. It's really
well,
nice.
I appreciate the support.
Thank you, guys. All right.
I'm driving this 72S on my way to my second outlaw gathering in downtown Miami. The 305 doesn't have the best driving roads, but at night it's always vibrant and cinematic, and I never know who or what will show up. So let's go take a look. Mira, mira. Al, coughing, 72 Zwecking. So tell me about it. It's a 72 what? What is it?
72S.
S, all right.
Originally ordered, obviously, in 1971-72 out of Brumos in Jacksonville,
Brumos
Florida.
delivered.
So it was.
This
Brumos.
is not one of them Peter Gregg specials, is it?
It wasn't. It's funny as much as we've tried to learn more about it, and it isn't. You know, there's rumors that this could have been built prior to those cars.
Got it.
And hence the flares and the ST inspiration prior to the RSR inspiration.
So when was it flared? It's a 72 Brumos delivered car, but when did it get the wide body flare?
Sometime in 74, 75.
Tell me the story.
The story is that John Paul ordered the car from Brumos, got the car delivered, and
who's this? John Paul Jones, a bass player for Led Zeppelin? Who is
John Paul.
Let's clarify.
John Paul Senior.
John Paul
JLP, and he gets the car ordered from Brumos, gets the car delivered, and sometime in 74, 75 buys a 3-liter RSR car and transfers the drivetrain over to this car. The drivetrain is on the car for a period of time. Slide valve motor, RSR suspension.
Still narrow body at that time, or is it flared?
No, it actually gets flared to fit the drivetrain, and has that motor in the car for some time. Sometime later in 78, 79, the motor
is he
gets
racing
pulled
it,
out.
or is it a street car?
No, this is actually the driver. This is what he drives to go to the track. There's actually a pretty cool scene in the Gumball movie where the car is actually parked at the JLP shop next to the 935s and some of the Formula V cars, etc. So it's actually pretty cool.
What deck lid is it wearing back there?
That's actually something that was put on sometime in 2014, 2015.
But what deck lid did it have on back in 74?
It had an actually flat tail IROC
okay.
deck lid, which I actually have.
Got it. All right. So keep going with the story, because I know there's some mystery behind it.
So the car at some point in the late 70s, motor gets built. It becomes some sort of 3.2 hot rod motor. The motor stays in the car, as I understand, through the 70s, through the 80s, and sometime in 1990, The motor gets pulled out of the car,
It's sold to Brumos, and what happens?
and then the motor is paid for with money and a 3.6 964 motor. So, and that's the motor that it has from sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, all the way through 2000 and I want to say 2013, 14, when the car gets shipped to Europe, and either in the Netherlands or in Denmark, the motors get pulled out and a new motor gets built and put in,
What gets put into
it's
it?
a 3.2 short stroke MF5 motor.
And that's what's in it now.
That's what's in it now. It's got an RS pump in it.
MFI. But
MF5.
it's single plug.
Single plug MF5. Don't ask me why I would build a single plug.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things that I would like to eventually
Twin plug.
Twin plug.
Tell me about the flares. Are the RSR or the ST or the turbo? They seem to be steel. What are they?
I think they're JLP specials. They're.
What do you think he started with? Were they modified turbo flares?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The front flares to me are more of an ST flare.
Okay.
And they probably got some sort of inspiration out of an ST, just because obviously 71 they had the STs. To me, the rear flares are much lower than an RSR flare,
Yeah.
and they're a lot sort of flatter, and obviously the back being pretty high up. I don't know. I mean, they're basically one off.
What are the bumpers? Are they fiberglass or are they
The
steel?
bumpers are steel, front and back.
Okay.
Bumpers are steel, and I think that's kind of unique considering that they never made a steel RSR front bumper.
Got it. So you think that's a modified S bumper?
It probably is a Modify S bumper that somebody molded, or he had, somebody in the shop mold.
Or weld the
His
pieces on?
big thing is a lot of the cars that he actually built outside of even the Porsches were all mostly steel hand-formed cars. So
How is this car getting cooled? We know it's a 3.2 single plug short stroke. Where's the cooler?
it's got currently it has a Carrera style front cooler
In the fender?
and
Just
then it
single.
also has a add-on RS style
Oh, it does.
front cooler in front, RSR front cooler in
Okay.
front. So it's got them both.
So we're running two coolers.
Yeah, and
I see,
they made a really cool little sort of scoop here,
Yeah.
which is hard to see, but it actually works to flow air up.
Do you have any issues overheating or not? Not in
Nah,
this
never have.
Miami heat.
No.
How do you find the car?
I want to say 2007, 2008.
Before it goes to Europe.
Before it goes to Europe, guy pulls in to the shop, Vertex, and through the window, through the storefront, I actually see the RSR brakes on the car. Because at the time, it had 934.5 suspension on it. It had RSR brakes on it. It was running some really funky Fuse wheels, some billet aluminum wheels. And it wasn't until 2012, 2013 that they actually called one day after me calling them. Honestly, it was almost a monthly by monthly deal. I would call and say, if you ever want to sell the car, let me know. If you ever want to sell the car, let
So
me know.
how does it go to Europe and you don't buy it?
We actually buy the car at Vertex. The car gets sold as is with the 3.6 on it, the brake suspension, and a set of aftermarket Fuchs wheels that we had for the car. It gets shipped to the Netherlands. A guy that's restoring a bunch of 935s, 934s ends up with the car. He goes through a divorce. The car gets sold. The following owner gets the car, does some tweaking. The car ends up in Belgium. The guy in Belgium, a really honorable dude. He was awesome. He ends up with the car. When he decides he wants to sell it, he actually goes through the history and sees my name on the title from Florida. So he actually calls Vertex in Miami in 2020 and asks for me. They tell him, obviously I don't work there. They give him my details, and he actually follows up in the beginning of 2020 and says that he wants to sell the car. He's got a number in mind, and at the time, that number didn't work for us. So he went through the motion of putting the car in P-Car Market in one of the auction sites. The car was a no sale, and at the time, we sort of agreed on a number, which if it didn't sell for anything over that, we would work out a deal. And about 2 months later, we worked out a trade. There was a couple of cars in trades and some money, and the car was actually shipped back.
Did you think about this car after you sold it?
The funny part about it is when we buy the car, the guys at Vertex that actually buy the car, because obviously I can afford to buy it, they actually they were actually sort of disappointed. They were like, "Why did we buy this car? Like, it's the paint sucks."
What was the original color of the car?
That's the original color.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what's actually pretty cool.
Is that the original paint? No.
So basically, everything on the center it's original,
Okay.
and as you could see, the flare when they widened the car
Got it.
and put the clear, they obviously didn't clear the entire car.
Yeah.
So this is actually lighter clear, and that's the reason why it's crackling.
Right, got it.
If it wasn't because I had just bought a 29,000 mile 79 turbo that was absolutely amazing for amazing money, which at the time I couldn't really afford to keep, but I figured out a way to keep. Keeping this car was not an option, and I remember actually having this car in the driveway and the 79 turbo in the garage and telling my wife, you know, I really would love to keep the JLP car, but if we want to do something and we need the cash, it would be a lot easier to sell the 79 for a lot more money than this car, because of you either understand what it is and you appreciate it, or
Which one do you prefer driving?
I love this car.
All right.
So and obviously I don't have the 79 anymore. So
Got it.
that's in Austria.
I've driven it around Miami. We know it's not a spirited drive around Miami. We didn't get triple digit, but the car is engaging. It's got a lot of emotion to it. Tell me what you're going to do to the car. Tell me what the car needs.
Obviously the clutch it's set up to be more of a track car,
Okay.
which is not really the use or the intent I'm going to have with the car.
So you're going to redo the clutch.
Redo the clutch, put
Go
something
through
a
the
little more
transmission,
mild,
blah,
go
blah.
through the transmission, potentially swap the power windows to manual windows.
Okay.
And
What are you going to
really,
do about those squeaky brakes? You keeping them?
you know, change the paths, but
Okay.
you know, eventually I like to put a set of period RSR or some sort of hot rodded brakes, which I've
What
been
is the
collecting
setup
for
that's
some
on it
time.
now? Let's talk about
Right
the
now it's got
suspension. the brake.
930. It's got Öhlins with remote
Okay.
reservoirs. It's got 930 brakes front and back. Original Fuchs that have been rewelded to 8s and 11s.
8s and 11. All right. On the rubber ROM, we're on this Michelin TB15.
Correct. Yep. It's got 335s in the rear now.
The Michelin TB15 seems to have a little bit of sidewall flex, I think.
They are
a little soft on the
and
side.
I feel they look great and they're sticky, but I think they have a lot of roll.
Yeah.
A lot of sidewall roll.
What are you doing with the interior? Are you leaving it as is?
Absolutely nothing.
I kind of
I'm not-
love it.
I'm not doing anything with the interior.
It's interesting to me that it never had a roll bar in it, or did it, and was it removed?
I don't think so. If you look at the back seats, they've never been, I don't think, used. It's
Okay.
got the original carpet, original headliner, original dash. Door panels are original.
Have you tracked the car?
I have.
Where have you tracked it?
At Homestead. Did a track day, did a couple of sessions on it.
How did it feel on track?
A blast. It was great.
So it's got a single plug 3.2 short stroke. What do you think that is? 260 horsepower?
Somewhere in the
270?
260, 270. I have a dyno sheet somewhere. It's somewhere around there.
What does the car weigh?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
It does seem rock solid. Like I'm trying to, get it to move and.
It's. I think the Öhlins really play a nice. It feels stiff and interestingly enough, as raw as the car seems to be, it's actually rather quiet and in my opinion, sort of nimble.
So it's running headers and a twin plug dance muffler?
Dance muffler.
Okay.
Or 2 in, 2 out.
All right, and standard 915.
Standard 915.
All right.
Which I believe it's I don't know if it's a number matching 915, but being that it's the first year for the 915,
Yeah,
I would
could be.
assume it is.
Could be.
I don't believe it's been re-geared. I don't think there's anything different to it.
All right, well, I think it's time to get back in the car, quick crap and get cracking and go get some more miles per mile. So
Awesome.
let's get on in and rock and
do it.
roll. All Porsches have a story. An L72S has a great one, but some cool 70s race history. It's the type of tale I love to hear about, one with lots of twists and turns, which make it really interesting. Unlike a lot of 50-year-old 911s, this one's been around the block. It's been modified in a real interesting way. The original motor long gone, but in a time when numbers matching cars didn't mean as much as it does today, it's not really a big deal. The story and some of its parts are way more interesting than a numbers matching car. was the type of P-car guy who never stopped thinking about this car. In fact, he bought it back a second time. He loved it so much.